I chose Seattle Pacific University's master's program in marriage and family therapy after doing kind of a West Coast search of programs. And I visited a number of campuses. I talked with a number of current students, alumni, and faculty to really get a feel for the programs. And SPU stood out for a variety of reasons, but the two that are most, I think, apparent to me, or the most important to me, I should say, are the systems perspective and the relationships that you develop with the faculty.
That is something that really sets this program apart, is the amount of real-world experience and also the amount of experience that our professors bring to the education, having worked at Boeing and Microsoft and other Fortune 500 companies.
There's nothing more amazing than being able to be a primary care provider with a nurse's heart. And people ask me all the time why I didn't just go into medical school, and I always say, you know what, the big difference is you have a nurse's heart, a nurse's bedside manner, and you get to play the role of a provider. And I don't think anything beats that in healthcare.
First and foremost, it's the character and the focus on faith and how those incorporate into your daily practice.
At the time I was in Michigan, and I knew that I was moving to Seattle, and so I had looked at a couple of different programs in the area, and the thing that impressed me the most about SPU's was just the real practical, immediate applications of teaching. It wasn't all just theoretical and linguistic theory and things. It was actually practical teaching experience. A lot of the classes are very geared to just planning lessons that you could take right from the class and use in the classrooms.
When I was able to look at a theory and then apply it in the classroom back to my work, my job, my 40 hours a week, everything really came together for me and the concept stuck. And that was probably the biggest piece, that selling point I gave to many people about the program, is you finally see those things match, and you can apply them as soon as you walk out the door. Having the classes at night, it was great. I mean, it's tough because there's that balance of you're done with your day and you want to go home and unwind, but you're going to class and it's going to be rigorous. And then there's balancing your family with it. So having those conversations and making sure that your family is there supporting it too. But again, for me, that's one of the strengths of the cohort, is you're not doing this alone. Yes, the faculty and the staff are there, but even more than that, you have the other people in your cohort going through this together. You meet in a small consult group with your colleagues and you talk about cases, you talk about life, you talk about the self of the therapist and your growth throughout the program. And I was with a group of students that, we became very good friends. It was a very meaningful time to share both our personal and professional lives together.
I think just the fact that it is a smaller program and a smaller faculty, at the same time you really get to know one another, and by the end it's going to be kind of sad to say goodbye to these folks next week, because you really become close and you really are able to work together, and you're in with the same people in a lot of classes, and it's just a really it's a really good program.
I think the assignments were more challenging. I believe the syllabus was well detailed as to how we would get to the process, and I've received lots and lots of help from my professors. I could call them, which was new to me. I've never called a professor at home to ask them about an assignment. They were always available in their office during office hours, and they were just always there, and they understand being a master's student versus a full-time teacher, and being a wife, they actually worked with me in the process, and I really did appreciate that.
The relationships I developed with the faculty was meaningful for me. They gave me role models to look to. They gave me guidance that I applied to my work, and they shared their lives with me outside of the program, and that was a very meaningful experience as well.
It was challenging, but worthwhile, and it was also interesting. The fact that I went to a historically black school, and I am from Jamaica, where 98% of the population is black, so this was a different setting for me, and so it was quite interesting. The coursework was quite challenging and hectic, but I learned how to juggle being with my job, a full-time teacher, being a wife, and a student at the same time.
It's both good and bad from a challenge aspect, where the professors didn't allow canned answers, at least the ones I ran into. They really required you to do some critical thinking Some programs you can kind of scoot by and just kind of give the right answers and you just get your degree and you walk on, but the SPU professors in the MBA program really focused on making sure we thought deeper about the problems and even brought our own work experience to the classroom and made sure we didn't just kind of scoot by.
Currently I'm a psychology postdoctoral fellow at the Child Study and Treatment Center, and that is an inpatient psychiatric facility for children and adolescents, and it's down in Lakewood, Washington. I'm doing individual therapy as well as group and family intervention and doing some assessments and leading a lot of groups, which has been really fun. And I've really been given a lot of freedom to create groups that I wanted to and to do the research that I wanted to. And so it's really been a wonderful experience.
I was really lucky to find out about an internship position at Starbucks. And I was offered the position about 2 weeks before graduation. And so it was great timing. I took it, and I took it as a full-time paid internship. And my contract goes through December 31st of this year, and with the potential of being extended. So I'd like to stay on. I'm working on that. Some of my roles include qualitative and quantitative research. And so we're using all of the data that comes in to process it and write reports that we will use to inform the senior leaders about what employees are really excited about, what changes have left them less satisfied, less engaged. It's a year-over-year survey that gives really important results that drive change within the organization.
One piece of advice would be just self-care. I mean, it's demanding, it's stressful. It's worth it, but it's very stressful. But the staff, the faculty are here, and so use them, and don't be afraid to call on them, to ask for help.
Get to know your colleagues. That would be one thing I would really recommend, just because most often you'll be in with the same group of people through the program. So I would say get to know your colleagues and get to know the professors, and don't be hesitant to contact them and to let them know when you need help and to not do it on your own.
Coming in, I hadn't studied psychology in undergraduate, so I was really intimidated by entering into this new world. And so in particular the psychology literature, and then having to write in APA style. So those were two things that up front, and I would say statistics as well. So all of those things I saw as maybe I was a little behind. And within the first two quarters, I'd say, with help from classmates and my professors, I really felt like I was able to catch up, and I was up to speed, and that was no longer something that was going to hold me back in the program.
I got to tell you that when you hit those walls, which you will, you're just spent. You've got clients you don't know how to help. You've got papers you don't know how you're going to write. Just know that you'll get through it. It's going to be a challenge at times, but you'll look back on this experience being glad you did it.
What I wasn't expecting to be a challenge was delving into my own, self-exploration, and as learning to be a therapist, yes, you need to learn the techniques and learn the theories behind the techniques, but at the same time you have to learn about what makes yourself tick as well. And that was something that I wasn't expecting, but I really was challenged by it. I found it probably the most rewarding as well. So I think that it was a pleasant surprise that I was able to learn so much about myself as a person and as a budding professional.
By the time you enter the program, you realize you're already going to make it. And the goal no longer becomes to become a nurse practitioner. You're already going to do that. The goal becomes how you want to do that and what kind of nurse practitioner you want to be and how you want to represent the program and the university.
Just watching my patients build upon their small successes and to see them have an outcome that they can feel proud of and that they can feel empowered by. Even if you're working with an 8-year-old, it's so fascinating and so rewarding to watch the trajectory of their lives change and to be a small part of that.
So if you were to sum up your whole SPU experience that you've been through in one word, what would it be?
I would say it was fantastic.